Hello and welcome to NFL Betting Blitz for October 27th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind ETOF21 Sports. Special guest today, my boy, Wade from Top Flight Picks. Wade, how you doing today, my man?
Doing great, man. Glad to join you this morning. Get ready before football starts in a couple hours.
So I have a funny story I would like to share before we all start this little adventure. Guess what happened to me today at the old Mariano's, which is the local grocery mark here in this northern suburban area. You ready for this tale, my friend? So I'm a free agent now. The little princess I was talking to is no more. And I go early. And dude, it is rare that I see someone that piques my interest early in the grocery store in the suburb I live in. I see said female and I'm planting, hey, how am I going to go up and talk to this young lady? And I'm walking and I'm in the produce section and there's I'm spacing on the term, but people are distributing things. So it's right in the middle. So I'm walking, I'm looking at her. My fucking sweatpants clip on the Golden Delicious apples. Rip the box of Golden Delicious apples off of the shelf, and there's just a fucking waterfall of apples. I mean, dude, it was the most unslickest thing of my life. But that's how my day started. How about you, man?
Not as eventful as that, that's for sure. I've been up looking at some NFL lines, just kind of getting ready, man. Nothing too eventful. Got a little baby running around, so I don't get out and about on Sunday mornings.
So before we jump into all this, first sponsor we want to get to is I want to say thank you to Santa Anita. This is their last live day of racing. Mandatory payout in the pick 5, pick 6. Also, I don't know about you. I don't know what the first word you taught your kid was, but the first word, Wade, my parents taught me was free. And they have this free pick'em contest. And $1,000 if you want it. I've won it once. You get the money right in it. You just have to go down. You pick. They have NFL games, but they also have horse races. And you just pick them. There is, how many questions are there today? There are 12 questions. And whoever has the highest score gets a $1,000 check sent to them from Santa Anita. So make sure to check that. Also, next weekend, and you know what? I know you don't know this because you're not a big horse racing guy, is the Breeders' Cup. Go to drf.com and you can start to get all the research you need for the Breeders' Cup. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk some NFL. And let's go ahead. Let's bring up Bet Online. And boom. Let's get a cooking with these numbers on Bet Online. First game we're going to talk about, my Detroit Lions hosting the Tennessee Titans. Is there anything in here? What are your thoughts of the game? Anything in here that piques your interest, my friend?
Yeah, I am on a prop in this game. I think the line is quite wide. I'm not sure if that's a smart spread to play, but I do think Lions money line as a maybe a parlay piece could be actionable today. I actually think the over in this game could be a good look. I know Tennessee's defense is pretty good, but I think Detroit can score. I think they'll be able to put up some points. And I also think that Detroit might actually allow Tennessee to move the ball a little bit. I know that's kind of crazy, but they allow 5.5 yards per play to their opponents. So if Tennessee can find the running game, any success there, I think this could be a good little game where we got some points here. So I actually took Montgomery to score an anytime touchdown. I locked that in earlier this week at -110 on DraftKings.
I like that. This is the biggest favorite the Lions have been since 2017 when they faced the Browns. Campbell is 17-7 as a favorite, but most of those is when the line is 5 or lower. Look, the spot says to take the Lions here. The spot says to fade the Lions. They just beat the Vikings. They have the Packers on deck. But with all that being said, do we really trust the Tennessee Titans in this spot? Lions DVOA defensively went down, not so much PFF. They got the pass rush when they needed against the Vikings, but at the end of the game, you could really tell that is when they missed Hutchinson. PFF grades the Titans as the second worst team in the league. DVOA has them as the sixth worst team in the league. Honestly, who's really even starting for the Titans? We don't even know. Is it going to be Rudolph? Is it going to be Levis? The weakness of the Lions defense is the secondary. Can either one of those guys get the ball to Calvin Ridley, who is on the injury report? What is up with Tony Pollard? Tony Pollard basically died. But how he came back in that game against Buffalo last week, I have no idea. Titans defensive line is great, but the Lions offensive line will be able to protect Goff. I like the spot, but honestly, for me to get involved, this needed to be up to 14. Right now, this is 12. This is just a dead number. I don't want anything to do with this. Next game. And boy, this has moved since my show on Tuesday night. I gave this one out on Tuesday night with the Browns plus 10. On Bet Online, it's all the way down to Browns getting 7.5 at home. Any thought in this game, my friend?
Yeah, I don't believe, quickly scrolling through my list here of plays, I don't believe I have anything in this game. I don't have anything in this game. Actually, no, wait. Well, I have Derrick Henry parlayed in a.
You got your best bet in this game, but we're going to be saving our best bets for later.
I do have my best bet in this game. I wasn't going to talk about that here. I do have Derrick Henry parlayed in a 2-man to score a touchdown with somebody else. I think taking him to score a touchdown any week is rather smart. Man, looking at the Ravens injury report, I know some of these cornerbacks may not be some of their top end guys, but they have 4 cornerbacks that are out in this game. And now we've got Jameis Winston coming in that's going to start for the Browns. I absolutely expect them to pass the ball around. I think they'll find a little bit success passing on the Ravens. So if I were to play anything in this game, maybe I'd lean towards the total over if I was going to play this at all. I don't know if I would touch the spread. I know you and I both have kind of been tailing the whole Browns cover for a few weeks there, and it just didn't work out. I can't keep riding the rain, so I'd have to take Baltimore -7, but they've been covering, so maybe they can cover by 7, but I'd rather just take the points here. I think Winston can move the ball.
So I gave this out, and
I think Njoku would be good.
Honestly. I mean, Njoku is a great matchup. Ravens do struggle covering the tight end.
Yeah.
I got this at 10 guys watching for the first time. I am live on my YouTube channel every single Tuesday on the eTop 2-1 Sports Show. Real quick, we got a question from Instagram. Do you guys think the Ravens should win?
Sure.
I mean, I could see the Browns putting up a little bit of fight. I just bet the Browns here plus the 10. Obviously, I give this one out on Tuesday. Like I said, anything over 7, I like. Lamar Jackson's a favorite, is 41% ATS with a line of 7 or higher. Jameis Winston's a dog, 65.5% when getting 3.5 or more. Last 20 years, home divisional dogs getting 3.5 or more, 55% against the number in September and October. When that line is 6.5 or more, 56%. Last 6 years, 67%. I think this is a good matchup for Winston. Ravens give up the most passing yards per game. Winston's going to be able to throw the ball, especially with all the injuries that Wade met to the back 4 of the Baltimore Ravens. Plus, the Ravens are playing on a short week. Conklin, Weirs, and they got their left guard back. So they are way better on the offensive line. I think this is a situation. I know what happened to Watson was terrible, but everyone's saying there's issues in the locker room, and now he's gone. Now we're going to rally around Jameis Winston. Since 2013, backup quarterbacks are 62% ATS in their first start. Nick Chubb is back. He looked good. The Ravens are just allowing, 125 yards to the Bucs on the ground last week. With the Browns offensive line being healthier, I think that number is going to be a little bit higher. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Ravens defense is bleeding production. I talked about this on my show. If they're serious about making a run to the Super Bowl, they need to get rid of Orr. They are giving up the most yards per game. Ravens have a habit of not finishing off teams. We saw this with the Raiders early in the year, Bucs last week. When you look at the Browns, look, the Bengals covered on a missed extra point, a missed field goal, and a 100-yard kick return. They had no business covering that game. Browns had more yards per play. If you look at the box score, they won the game. 7, anything over 7, I like. I got it at 10, like I said. So we are on. You would agree with the Brownies, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, my friend. All right. Next game. And this game, whoo, I had some discussion with my boy David on this game on my podcast on Friday. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Green Bay Packers. Talk to me, my friend.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot I like in this game here. I'm actually only on. I don't do this very often, but I did play a little 3-leg parlay here. I put Jacobs to score an anytime touchdown. I did Ingram 25 plus receiving yards, and then I added Jonathan Taylor from the Colts to get 40 rushing yards into that 3-leg parlay. That was plus 168 over on FanDuel. I like Jacobs to score in this game. He hasn't scored a lot. I believe they only have 3 rushing touchdowns to Love's 15, so they definitely like to pass heavy. Obviously, Jacksonville's defense really stinks. One thing I always like to try to fade these teams that are on a high right now. Packers are on a 3-game winning streak. They're going to lose at some point. I don't know if it's going to be here, but this could be a good spot for them to drop one. I just don't really trust this Jacksonville team right now to do that. One prop I liked in the Jacksonville side was Christian Kirk over 18.5 longest reception. I think Lawrence has covered that every single. He has a pass that long in every single game in his career, and Kirk's covered that in like 20 of the last like 24 games or something like that, something crazy. I just think that the Packers are going to be able to cover this. I do think they're the right side here. I think their momentum is heading in the right direction, and I think they're not looking ahead. I think they'll take care of this business here. Then next week they'll probably drop one. Jordan Love's alive for 2 or 3 pass touchdowns in this game, as he always does. I think he's going to find success passing, and I don't really see what Jacksonville is going to be able to do. I think Bigsby's injured. He's been a nice success for them running the ball, so I'm having a hard time finding where Jacksonville is going to have a lot of success here.
Yes. Dude, you know what, dude? I'm old school. I'm old. Wade thought I was like 55 when Wade and I hung out in Indiana. I'm not going to lie. I'm not 55. Not nowhere near 55. But I like to write stuff down. Also, Let's Make Some Money asked me this yesterday, and now he's asking you, what do you think of the girl with big cans scamming people for a Bitcoin?
I don't even know where that's at. Am I missing something? Do I need to see something?
Taylor Mathis.
Oh, yeah, I know about her.
Yeah, she did a Bitcoin. She did a pump dump with a Bitcoin, basically scam people out of all this money.
No, she didn't.
She did. Lost her DraftKings sponsorship, the whole 9 yards.
No, she didn't.
She did. She
what?
did.
I have to look into that now for sure. Yeah, I know who that is. That's crazy.
You know what, dude? I did it. I'm on the Jags here. I got the Jags at +4. They're down to 3.5. I'd still play them here. Spot says to take the Jags. Packers are traveling on the road with a home game versus the Lions on deck for the lead in the NFC North. Look, I'm in Illinois. It has been unseasonably hot here, but that's not Florida 86 hot, my friend. It is going to be toasty down in Florida. Teams playing in Europe, coming back. I know everyone's like, they're going to be tired. When you look at the big scheme of it, only 54%, basically a break even, a little over the positive ROI points. We can't really look at that. But we can look at the trend of the last 20 years, home dogs coming off a win, getting 4 or more, 63% against the number. Looking at the Packers offense, they live off explosive plays. If you just take off the plays over 20 yards, they are really struggling to move the ball. Packers are due for some turnover regression. Guess which team has the most turnovers this year, my friend?
I would just say Jordan Love himself, because I know he has.
Which team has created? Which team has gotten the most turnovers? It's been the Green Bay Packers, 17.
Gotcha.
So obviously, that is due for some aggressions.
Yeah,
when you look
absolutely.
at it, they struggle early downs defending early downs. So does that going to lead to the Jags being able to run the ball? Tank Bisbee last week, 26 rushes, 118 yards, 4-point yard, 5 yards per run. I know everyone's going to be like, but that's what's against the Patriots. Patriots are 27th PFF run defense. Packers are 25th. So I think they're going to be able to move the ball. Packers just gave up 25 to Joe Mixon last week. Packers are good defending the deep ball, but struggle defending the middle of the field. So I think this is going to open stuff up for Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk. Spot says to do it, so I'm doing it. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I got him at 4. I gave it out Friday on my podcast. Still like it at anything over 3. It's 3.5 now on Bet Online. Next game, we are going to going head to head with our boy Mike in this one. Indianapolis Colts going to the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I actually agree with Mike here on this one. I actually think Houston's going to be able to get the better of Indianapolis. I just don't think Richardson's that good right now. He's really struggling to move the ball. I think he's going to find himself probably under 15 pass completions. I know it's probably going to be pretty run heavy. They're going to probably force the ball with Taylor and try to find Richardson in some lanes. I don't mind Taylor's over rushing yards. One play I did make in this was Jonathan Taylor. Anytime touchdown was minus 105. Anytime you get him close to plus money, I think he's on automatic. Especially against the Texans, he has played in the last 5 games against them. He has scored in every game. And he has 7 total touchdowns in the last 5 games. So I think him to score is a really good look. I would side with Houston on this side. I think they're going to be able to cover this. Usually these games are pretty close. It ends up coming down to a field goal. But I think Stroud can find success passing. I think Mixon can find success rushing. Mixon is the player that I paired with Derrick Henry to score anytime touchdown. So I've got those 2 guys in a 2-leg here. So I've got quite a few things in this game. If I were to take a side, like I said, I'd probably take Houston to cover the it was minus 5.5. I don't even see what it is on your screen at this. Is it 5 now?
Yeah.
I think 5's okay, man. I think they can win this by 2 field goals. I think Houston's defense can just do enough. I think they'll probably turn over Richardson at least once. They might find a couple sacks. I think they'll be able to do it. They hold teams under 5 opponents' yards per play, so I think they can do it.
So I have to ask you something, man. Are you up for a little T-shirt bet, my friend?
I guess.
So this is how it works. If the Colts cover, you send me a Colts T-shirt. The Texans cover, I'm gonna get you a Texans T-shirt. I have to let you know. Last week I got a Chiefs T-shirt from David. Thursday I got a Rams T-shirt from Chase. Yesterday I got an Akron Zips T-shirt from XFL Gym. So I'm going for the grand salami here, 4 in a row in head-to-heads. Because I took the Colts. What's the number here, though? Okay, so I got a 6. It's at 5. You want to call it? You played at 5.5. You want to call it 5.5 for a bet?
I mean, I wouldn't say this is my most confident play.
Okay, all right.
For sure.
If you don't want to do it, that's fine, dude. That's fine. I mean, if I play this video, will this increase your odds of doing it?
Life is a numbers game, right? You will miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I mean, did that motivate you at all?
No. No, because I don't. All
right, we won't do it. Is the book out?
I don't know, man. Because it's that's obviously easy for me. I'm in Indianapolis. I can go walk down the street and get you an Indianapolis T-shirt right now.
I would buy you the worst looking Houston Texans T-shirt I could find. I am great at this type of stuff.
Man, I want a Houston Oilers T-shirt is what I want.
Is the book out on CJ Stroud? The Packers took.
Think about it.
Packers took away the deep ball. He looked like a lost puppy, 10 to 21, 86 yards. Not having Nico Collins is killing Stroud. For his career, Collins has accounted for 32% of Stroud's production, and this season he's accounted for 34% of his production while missing 2 games. Stroud, 36% ATS as a favorite. Shane Steichen is quietly one of the best coaches in the league against the spread, 63% cover rate. The Colts have a top 2 offensive line in the league, and I know the Texans are graded 12th defending the run, and DVOA has them number 2 defending the run. But last week, Josh Jacobs just had 6.3 yards per carry. I think the Colts will be able to run the ball here on the Texans. Plus, let's look at the Texans linebacking core. Lots of injuries. Jonathan Taylor is coming back, so we're going to have the RPO with Richardson and Taylor against that front 7, which is already banged up. Last 20 years, home divisional favorites are 46.4% ATS in the months of October and September. Last 20 years down to 44%. I feel the Packers laid out the blueprint here to beat the Texans. Let Mixon get his, limit the explosive plays. I'm getting a road divisional dog that I think is a toss-up game. I got it at 6. I still would play at this 5. So I'm on the Colts, and I'm going to tell you this. If you think the Colts win this game, they are plus 500 right now to win the South. That is a future bet you need to make, because tomorrow, as soon as these odds are off the board, that future bet's going to drop immensely. So I would look to do that one. Yeah, next game. We are going down to the
I'm
South.
not confident enough in the Texans, man. If you were in, I can't do that.
That's fine, dude.
I can't do that. I would love to take that, but I do not think that's the play. I think the Colts can easily cover. I just yeah.
All right. Next game, the Arizona Cardinals going to the Tua-led Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, you may not like my play on this, but I did it anyways, so whatever. I took Miami -4. Chased the line a little bit. I would love to grab 3 earlier in the week, but I didn't do it. I kind of waited to make sure, I guess Tua was back, and I wanted to look into a couple other things. I think just catching Arizona off of that win last week at home against the Chargers, where they were underdogs, having to travel over to Miami now. I think the players got a jolt of life back with Tua coming back. They may not look as good in the second half, or the first half, but I do think in the second half they could be able to turn it on and start cooking a little bit. It's going to take them a little bit to get going. I don't think they're going to come right out and just start firing on all cylinders again. They're one of the worst rated offenses in the NFL right now, especially for efficiency, which I think is obviously a room to grow for them. I think last week they were ranked 32nd in total offensive efficiency. They're ranked 9th in defensive efficiency, so I think they can cause some problems on the Cardinals. I know James Conner can probably find success here, but I just think Miami can do enough. I think they can score enough. So I took Miami -4. Cardinals for the season have allowed 6 yards per play to their opponents, and if the Dolphins can find any explosives whatsoever, I think they'll be able to put this away by -4. With the news of Tua coming back, I took a sprinkle there on Tyreek Hill and touchdown to score, and then I paired a 2-leg 40+ receiving yards with Tyreek Hill 60+ receiving yards for nice little plus money on FanDuel. When they both play, they are both 9 hit. They both have cashed that in 9 of the last 10 games playing with Tua. So.
I like it. And dude, I'm just letting you know in the private chat, I just sent you the T-shirt. If you're passing up on, I just sent you the T-shirt I was going to get you. My thoughts on this game: Murray as a dog, 64% ATS; as a road dog, 18-6-2, 75%. What are we going to expect from Tua here? Cards running zone heavy coverage 71% of the time, highest of the league. So this is another great matchup for Waddle and Hill. But do we trust McDaniels? I was really disappointed last week with the game plan I saw for McDaniels against the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
At home, 63% ATS. Offensive line of Miami has been playing sneakily good, only allowing 6 pressures and no sacks against the Arizona Cardinals. pass rush is the third worst per PFF. So with that being said, I really think this Miami the Miami offensive line is going to protect Tua. But the thing to me about this Miami team, it seems anytime they're punched in the mouth, they quiver up. There is just no fight in this team whatsoever. Flip side, do we trust the Miami defense? 25th DVOA, 30th defending the run. Will the Finns be able to defend Murray in the run game? Richardson last week, 56 yards rushing. Murray is more an accomplished runner, but Richardson is running a lot more than Murray this season. End of the day, I got Hill in a round robin. I got Tua in my DFS lineup, but I'm not doing shit in sides.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Next game, the Fraud Bowl, as I'm calling it. The Atlanta Falcons going to Tampa Bay. Basically a pick 'em. Tampa Bay +1 over under 46.5. Any thoughts here?
Not playing any sides in this game, but if I were, I'd take the Falcons and I'd go with the under. We just saw these two teams play. They both had explosive offenses. They both went over. They both scored quite a bit. I think did they both score 30 points in that game?
Yeah, it was like 36-30 in overtime.
Yeah, with all the injuries to the Bucs, I don't see how they're gonna have that much success with offense. So I just think the game is gonna go under. It might get close, but I think it's gonna. I think they're gonna stay under. I just don't think the Bucs have enough on offense. There's way too many injuries right now. I just wouldn't bet anything on the Buccaneers. We almost have to see what this offense is gonna look like this week, with the way they're constructed right now.
I'm gonna say this. For DFS purposes, I would look at Shepard, Palmer, McLaughlin, and then on the flip side, I'd run it back with London or Darnell Mooney. That's what I would do in this game.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry,
I put a 2-leg together with Bijan Robinson, 75+ rushing and receiving yards, with Drake London to get 50+ receiving yards for plus money on Bet365. I have a couple 2 legs this week. Not too many, but just that's the last one, I believe. I think they can find some success.
Yeah, DFS lineup for me here. I have Drake London in one of these, and I ran it back with what's his face? Oh my God, Jerry McLaughlin. Next game.
Okay.
Patriots getting 7, hosting the New York Jets. One of the few weeks we don't have to suffer through a Jets primetime game, man. Thoughts?
I know probably sharps are going to be on Patriots to cover, but I'm not on this, but I would bet Jets -7 here. I think they can at least cover 7. I know that's crazy. Maybe I sound crazy saying that because the way they've looked, especially in the second and first halves of games, they've been doing really well. I think in 4 of the last 5 first halves, they've been leading at halftime, and in the second half, they just can't do anything. They've hardly scored. They're gonna fix that eventually. I think books see the money line sides like -300 for a reason. I think they are gonna win this game. I know the defense hasn't looked great, especially when they allowed 30+ points to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's either show up or go away right now. I think this is the week that the Jets either show us that they're for real or not. Their defense, they have legit players. Are they going to show up or not? I just don't know. This is a tough game. If I were anybody, I would not be betting on this game. There's other games. There's a million props. I would not even touch this game. I did put a boost on Devontae Adams to score. I'm limited on boosts anyways, so it's a small sprinkle for me. The way Rodgers is going to continue to probably force feed his best friend,
his BFF.
Yeah, I don't see why that's not a bad play. It's like +170 for him to score. It's a sprinkle on that. I wouldn't touch anything else in this game though, but I do think the Jets are going to probably pull away in this one. They have to. They have talent. They just haven't put it all together yet.
May back-to-back 20-point games for fantasy football. Jets defense, I know everyone's making a thing out of them, but they can be thrown on, run on. Jets have the second most pass interference penalties called and given up the most air yards per PI this year. Do we trust the Jets, with that being said, to win with this much margin? Pats players not buying into Mayo. From what I'm being told, there is some locker room injuries. Since May has taken over Hunter Henry, 7 targets a game, 5.5 receptions, 66.5 yards per game. Definitely look to him to do something.
Yep.
I really don't trust Van Belk as a playmaker. Don't understand why Stevenson only had 9 touches last game against the Jaguars. End of the day, Hunter Henry and some DFS lineups. Nothing side.
Yeah, I think May is going under his passing yards today. I really don't think he's going. I think it's like 208. I don't think he's going over that. I'd be shocked.
Next game. One of the games of the day. Eagles, Bengals. What say you, my friend?
Yeah, this is I believe this is a tricky game to look at. They actually both allowed the same exact opponent's yards per play. Cincinnati can move the ball. I also think Philadelphia can move the ball. I think we're going to see passing in this game. I think Saquon's going to run into a little trouble rushing the ball against the Bengals defense. So I think Hurts is going to be forced to pass a little bit. And I think Hurts can pass. And I think with getting the weapons back and getting a little bit more healthy on that side of the ball, I think we might see Jalen Hurts go over his passing yards today. I think it's like 210 or something like that. I think he has a good chance to have a little shootout here with Joe Burrow. I'm not on anything in this game. If I were, I would probably lean to the over in this game. I think both teams are going to score a little bit and push the pace. So that's kind of where I stand on this game. I need to see more out of both these teams. They've both been up and down all year, so you don't really know where they're going. I know Cincinnati can move the ball really well. Their defense is questionable, so we'll see. I actually think Philadelphia is probably the right side. I would probably, if I were to play a side, I would definitely take Philadelphia money line just for the value.
Actives today, just tweeted out by Adam Schefter. Irvin, Flowers, Tyreek Hill active. Inactives, Travis Etienne, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Alan Lazard, Marlon Humphreys, Justin Simmons, Will Levis, and Ladarius Sneed. Jesus, no Simmons, no Sneed. That Titans defense just got a little bit more dicey. In terms of this game, to me, which team do you trust more? Bengals played up and down. Were outgained by the Browns. Like I mentioned, Browns should have won that game. Should have lost to the Giants. But flip side, they should have beat the Ravens and the Chiefs. Defensively, nightmare, 20th DVOA defending the pass, 22nd defending the run. Flip side, can the Ravens defense get enough stops? Eagles play man coverage the 7th most in the league, ranked the 5th worst in success rate. Running man allowing 6.21 yards receptions. Running man, that's the 10th worst in the league. And this is where it gets interesting. T. Higgins actually leads the Bengals in target share on man coverage, but he's inactive.
Yep.
Jamar Chase, 21%. But flip side, is Burrow going to have time? PFF has this as the 21st graded offensive line. In terms of sides, I have nothing, but I do have something for my best bet later in the show. Next game, we are off to the 4:00 slate. We have the Seattle Seahawks at home getting 3 against Buffalo. And I heard there's going to be some weather. Why don't you tell everyone? Oh, I lost you, my friend. Why don't you tell everyone your thoughts on this game? And I will be looking up the weather forecast.
Did you mention DK Metcalf on your report you just gave out?
DK Metcalf's already been ruled out.
Okay. Yeah. The list I'm looking at says he's still doubtful, so I'm not sure why that hasn't updated yet. I'm on the Bills all day on this game. I don't usually play money lines, usually north of 135-ish, 140, but I think the minus 155 is worth the money here, especially if you're a little bit bigger gambler and you can win back. I mean, if you're a $100 gambler, the value may not be there, but if you gamble more than that per bet, I think the minus 155 is a good look. Line open minus 2.5. It's up to minus 3. I kind of like to fade Seahawks here, coming off a big win over their rival, the Falcons. With DK Metcalf out, I think they're going to have troubles here Buffalo averages 0.506 points per play, where Seattle's at 0.399. Seattle passes at 66% of the time, where they only run it 33% of the time. So they're pretty predictable. I actually liked what Buffalo's pass defense has done in previous games. They haven't been perfect in every game, obviously, but I think they can cause some problems here. I think they can get to him. I think they can put some pressure on him, and I think overall Josh Allen's just going to play better. I have a future on him as MVP, and I think he's going to continue to excel. They gave him another weapon this last week, and we saw how that worked out. Cooper scored. I just think I think Josh Allen's going to make plays with his legs, with the weather, the way it's looking. I think that's going to slow the passing game down for Seattle, which is going to become a problem. I really like Kenneth Walker. I think he's great. But I just think Buffalo's going to be able to slow him down, and I think Buffalo's going to be able to find enough points to win this game. Will they cover? I think they can probably win by 3. So if you're going to play that, you're probably more playing for a push. I don't see a blowout here, but I think Buffalo's going to win this game.
What's going on with DK Metcalf? Has an MCL sprain. I am looking right now on the old Twitterverse. So he's going to test it out, but realistically, week 11. That's when we're going to look to get him back.
Yeah, they're talking 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Can the Seattle line protect Smith? PFF has him graded as the 3rd worst offensive line in the league. Right side is awful. Forsyth missed last game. They're rotating guys in at the right guard position. Bills have the 6th best pass rush.
Yeah.
But the Bills do struggle defending the run. They're the 9th worst, and the run blocking is the strength of the Seahawks offense. DVOA has the Hawks run game as the 10th best in the league. Walker is a weird guy trying to figure out, only gone over 80 yards twice this season, but he's averaging 4.7 yards a carry. Maybe with Metcalf out, we're going to see them lean on him a little bit more in the running game. Only had over 15 attempts once this season, averaging 13 rush attempts a game. Spot-wise, I am tempted to play the Seahawks here, but I passed. What I did is I went Kenneth Walker over, you ready for this? 23.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
Bills have given up the 2nd most receiving yards to opposing running backs this season. Walker has gone over this total in 4 straight, averaging 5.7 targets, 5.25 receptions, 38.5 yards per game in that 4-game time span. I'm going to be on Kenny Walker here, over 23.5 yards receiving.
I hate to ask, and
Yes.
I am going to pull this up while I'm sitting here because I'm going to see. I really like that play. Do you think that line's still that? I'm going to try to jump. I'm going to try to grab this right now. I think that's a fantastic play. I didn't think about Walker receiving yards today, and I've actually played that twice this year so far, so I don't know why that didn't pop in my mind, but that is a really good look.
It is, where are we at here?
Receiving yards.
I got this one this
Walker.
morning.
You probably took this earlier in the week too, so
no, I got this.
You got 23.5?
I got 23.5, big guy.
I can get 23.5 on Hard Rock and MGM still for -120. I'm locking this baby in. It's over 25.5 on every other book. So
yeah,
and it's at 26.5 on Bet Rivers. So
let's do it, my friend.
That's a fantastic line. Beautiful. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to take the 25 plus on FanDuel for a little bit of better money.
A little more juice. A little more juice.
Thank you, buddy. I like that play.
Next bet.
Lock that in.
Saints going to the Chargers. Real quick, we don't know what's going on with Carr. I was looking on these little team sites. One site said he's playing. The other site said he's not going to play. I have no idea. I'm going to be looking at X right now while you give me your thoughts on the game.
I am on the Chargers -7 spread. But if Carr's in, I don't like that bet at all. That is a play only if Carr's out. I think they have a bounce back. I think Harbaugh's very good off of a loss. they probably should have won that game against the Cardinals. They couldn't do what they should have done against the Cardinals, which was run the ball. I was on Dobbins' touchdown play. I was on Dobbins' rushing yards last week, obviously against the Cardinals, who can't stop the run. And they put it together and figured out how to stop the run, and they made enough stops to win that game. I think the Chargers coming back home, I think they can get right here against a struggling Saints who are still just trying to figure out what to do with Spencer Rattler. When he's in there, it's really almost not him. It's their offensive line. Their offensive line's been missing some really key players. And when an offensive line is as down as they are, you just can't win games in the NFL. You can't protect your quarterback. You can't move the ball. If you can't move the ball, you can't win. I think they're going to see similar instances here if Spencer Rattler's playing. I think the Chargers are going to pin their ears back, and I think they're going to get after this offensive line, and I think they're going to win this game by 10 points or more.
Looking like Spencer Rattler is trending to starting. Saints offensive line is a mess.
Yeah.
They are rolling out third string guys, and for how good Rick Dennison is, he cannot fix this. They allowed 21 pressures and 5 sacks to the Broncos. This is a big margin for one of the slowest teams in the league to cover. Can the Saints stop the run? Chargers will look to run the ball. Saints are the second worst run defense per PFF, the 12th worst tackling team. And with all the Saints football I've watched, I feel they are not graded low enough. This team misses so many goddamn tackles. Herbert, 31% ATS, second half, one of the worst the last 20 years. Maybe you look to take the Saints in the second half if the Chargers get out to a big lead. Saints, one of the most unluckiest teams in the league, due for some positive regression. But in this spot, look, I want nothing to do them. My guillotine league, I got Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. Hopefully they can give me some points, but I got nothing in this game. Next game.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you. The -7 for the Chargers is it's definitely a stretch. It's definitely a stretch, but it's I think it's attainable this week.
Next game.
Where are we at?
Washington Commanders hosting the Chicago Bears.
Where are we at with quarterback? That's the question. I need to know. I need to know. If Daniels plays, I like Washington. If Daniels doesn't play, is he playing?
He said he's going to try it out.
Give me Washington money line. I'm not a believer in the Bears. I know the Bears
we're laying 3. So first to start out is Commanders laying 3. Then it said no Daniels earlier in the week. Then it was Bears laying 3. Sure. Right now, Bet Online, it's basically a pick 'em. So that tells me they don't know what's going on. So they just put it right in the middle. I want what I did in this game. So first of all, let me tell you these stats for the Commanders and why I think they're fraudulent.
They are not fraudulent.
9-9 on fourth downs this season. What was the last team to start the season 9 for 9 on fourth downs?
Nobody. That's crazy stat.
The 2004 St. Louis Rams.
Did they win it all or what? Was that the time? Was that the year they won it all?
Yeah, but my point is they're due for some regression, man. That's my point.
They're not. They're just due to keep turning this up, baby.
This year, their percentage of drives ending in an offensive score is 64.1%.
Yeah, that's wild. But their strength of schedule has been pretty weak.
The second best is the Ravens at 50%.
That's wild.
They have the fewest punts on the season. Look, in terms of side, I have no idea what I want to do, but I did do DJ Moore over 58.5 yards receiving. Commanders defense isn't good, has taken advantage of teams being forced to pass, and they sit back in it. They run man coverage, allow the highest rate of first downs, and have the worst success rate using man coverage. I know Keenan Allen has performed well against man, but DJ Moore against the secondary last year, 8 for 230 and 3 touchdowns. the same secondary he's going against. He leads the Bears in target share yards. Washington's secondary has given up the 9th most yards to opposing wide receivers. So I just did DJ Moore. I did his over here. That is basically my only play.
I do have a play in this game. I took Robinson Jr. to score an anytime touchdown at plus 130 because my thought on that play was you would never get Robinson at plus 130 if Daniels was healthy. So I took this earlier in the week when news of him made – I think at that point he wasn't even for sure to play. My initial thought was if they for sure say Daniels is going to play, that line's going to go from plus 130 to like minus 110. Yeah. Or at least something around like plus 100. 4 of the 6 lead backs against the Bears have scored. They've actually allowed almost every running back to score on them. And he has scored in every week except one. So I think he has a good shot. If Daniels plays, the offense definitely opens up for the Commanders to have a little more to pick with. If not, I think if Mariota plays, I think Mariota ran a lot last week. I think he's going to run far less against the Bears here, but I think they're going to force the hand with Robinson to take more carries. I think Robinson can find 15-plus carries in this game, even if Daniels is healthy. But I do like the Washington in this game. I'm not a believer in the Bears. I know their defense has been pretty solid. I just am not a believer in Williams at all, and I think he's turnover prone. I think if you get him in sticky situations, he's going to make bad mistakes, and I think this is a game where we might see a shootout. I think Washington can move the ball. I think the Bears can obviously move the ball in Washington. Their defense isn't anything spectacular, and they allow the completion percentage of 70, which is not good. So they're going to have to figure out how to slow Williams down, but I think they can do it. I really do.
I do have some round robins, but you know what? I will share them a little bit later. Next game, Chiefs going to Vegas. What do you think here, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all over the Chiefs minus 8.5. I'm not going to not take that line. They've been playing too well right now. The Raiders are not playing well at all. I'm sure a lot of sharps probably think this is a good spot to fade the Chiefs, but I just think they're playing too well. Mahomes is playing too free. He's playing comfortable. He can find he's not his stats. If you look at his overall stats, he's not one of the better quarterbacks playing, but they win close games. He keeps them in games. Even if he turns the ball over, he still keeps them in games. Hunt's been playing really well. I don't see what the Raiders can do in this game. I know the line earlier was like 9.5. Maybe it's come down a little bit. I kind of like when lines come down. A lot of those bets actually cash in my experience. So I'm fine with taking minus 8.5. Keep giving me more value on the Chiefs. The one play I actually did lock in this game was Hunt anytime touchdown. I got that at minus 125. I don't usually like taking anytime touchdowns at those prices. I like to find them around plus money if I can. But this one I just thought was too good. He scored in 2 of the last 3 games. He had 2 touchdowns last games. And then if you looked at last year's games against the Raiders, Mahomes actually passed quite a bit in those games. Pacheco didn't particularly run a lot, but Pacheco did score in both of those games, and he scored twice in one of those games. So I think even if Mahomes ends up passing it for 35, 40 times in this game, they'll find Hunt for one of those. He can catch out of the backfield. I think he'll find the end zone at some point in this game. And I don't hate Hunt's rushing yards either in this game. I think he can probably find 65, 70. So,
I took the Chiefs. I took the Raiders. I got it at 10.
Yeah, I would have bet money that this is a Raider spot for you
early in the week.
Yeah,
and you know what? Would you be confident in a t-shirt bet in this game, my friend?
Yeah, I'll do this one. Sure.
This game is a bet. Mahomes, road favorite, 47%. Laying 3.5 or more, 45%. Laying 7.5 or more, 43%. Last 2 years, teams after playing the 49ers, 38% against the number. Why is it that the physical style of play the 49ers play? I just feel it's a good situational spot. Chiefs just beat the Niners in a Super Bowl rematch. Now they're going on the road, laying 9 points. Last 20 years, teams laying I can't say this one because this is a stat I gave out in my show when the number was 10. Road divisional favorites laying over 7, 44% ATS. Chiefs have injuries too. Hollywood Brown, Pacheco, Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster. Their starting unit is Xavier Worthy, Sky Moore, Justin Watson, and DeAndre Hopkins, who we don't even know knows the playbook. How
Hopkins
much
is about to go off. He can find spots in the zone. He can find spots in coverage, and I
he doesn't
guarantee
know where to
he's
be.
gonna go. He's gonna go off.
Like,
He don't need to know the plays. Him and Mahomes have been playing for so long. I guarantee you, he's gonna find the spots, sit in them, and Mahomes is gonna find him. You watch.
Chiefs are middle of the pack defending tight ends. I think there's a path for the Raiders to work the middle. And who is going to win Rookie of the Year? Brock, the man, Bowers. He is going to east here. Minshew is better for this game, can move the ball well, gives the Raiders a chance. The trends are telling me to take the Raiders. Give me Raider Nation plus. I got it plus 10. Bet Online has, Bet Online just ticked it down to 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5 is where it's at, baby. I'm telling you right now. Chiefs 8.5. They're gonna win by 9.
So what's our official number for our little bet, man?
I would only play the 8.5. I wouldn't play 10. I would have known this was a spot for you to take Raiders 1,000%.
You want to take 8.5? 8.5's our bet.
If you're comfortable with it, I'll do it.
I'm comfortable with everything, dude.
I obviously your trends scare me. I was on the Rams because of the fact that teams coming off the Lions also lose the following week because their brutal play and obviously the short week of travel. I don't like your San Francisco stat there where teams coming off playing them because that's real. That's a real fact. That's a real stat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely confident. That's just those kind of trends because I'm not really a trend guy. I don't go looking for that stuff, but that stuff matters, man.
And this next one disgusts me, and I'm so glad this didn't get the Panthers plus 7 for the first half.
No,
because I was gonna have to take that.
No,
but you know what? I'm gonna say it. I gave this one out on my show. I took the Panthers here. At plus 10.
No, why are you doing this to yourself?
Teams Peyton 2-7 off extended rest. Teams off a road win last 20 years that are home. The next game are 43%. And then there's this weird rule of 17. Teams that won by 17 playing a team by lost by 17 or more, 39%. Some trends are telling me to take the Panthers. Panthers have a top 10 offensive line per PFF. They're going to lean on Chuba Hubbard, lean on Miles Sanders, shorten the game, run the ball, some quick hitters. Hopefully we see a little bit of development from Bryce Young. In what number I don't care who is across the field. There should be an NFL game when Bo freaking Nix is laying this big of a number. I took the Panthers here. I got it at 10. Obviously, with Dalton getting the car accident, Deontay Johnson getting hurt in practice, numbers risen a little bit. So, I mean, obviously I still like it, but I got it at 10. Do you have any thoughts in this game?
Yeah, shoot or shoot, man. Shoot or shoot.
That way you can
where you find these trends is wild. This whole 17-17 thing, that's crazy. How often has that happened in the NFL?
My God. Last 20 years, I think it's like, while you talk, I'll pull it up, man.
30, 40, 50 times.
Will you talk, I'll pull it up, man. You
talk. Man, it's really hard to put anything on this game. Once it got past 10, I think that's a little crazy. You're right, back in Bo Nix. But you know what? Bo Nix can, if he doesn't turn the ball over, he can run the ball. He can find passing lanes. Panthers are really nothing special. I hear your points on Hubbard, but how are they going to run the ball if they can't pass the ball? And if Bryce can't do anything, which I'm not saying he can't, but I don't have any faith that they're going to be able to pass the ball. And I think it's going to take about a quarter and a half for the Broncos to realize that they can't pass the ball, and then they're just going to shut everything else down for the rest of the game. I think the Broncos probably win this by like 8 or 9. I think 11's getting a little out of hand. So you're probably right on 10. If you had a gun to my head, I'd probably take Panthers to cover, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah,
I've been on Hubbard every single week rushing. I don't trust it this week. Broncos have been way too impressive on defense for me. You saw what they did against the Saints last week. They couldn't do anything. And I think Spencer Rattler is actually better than Bryce Young. Call me crazy.
Here we go.
You put them two on a better offense. I think Spencer Rattler does better than Bryce Young.
Teams that lost by 17 points or more playing a team that won by 17 points or more. That's what the Panthers are.
Yep.
Last 20 years, 111, 70-4, 61.3%, and 18.6% ROI.
Yeah, that's a lot of games.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the trend. We are talking about 32 professional teams. These are professional players. Even a bad team has professional players that are going to step up the next game. And when you get embarrassed by 17 points the next game, you're probably going to play a little bit better the next game.
Plus, it's a stock market. People are like, "Oh, dude, the Browns stand-alone game on Thursday. Broncos,
for sure. Buy low, sell high.
They can do some stuff." Oh, Panthers going back to Bryce Young. Just the buying point,
and the fact that people and the fact that that Broncos game was on prime time, so people saw that people are probably overvaluing the Broncos right now, slightly.
Last game, and I'll tell you, Sunday night games I love like this. You know why? I'm not betting it, and my old ass can go to sleep early. We have the Cowboys 2-5 at the 49ers. Any thoughts in this game? Because I'll tell you what, with all the injuries the 49ers have, Cowboys not having Parsons, Cowboys offensive line being awful, Cowboys having no run game, Cowboys playing a defense that doesn't fit the personnel they have. I have nothing. What about you?
I have 2 plays in this game. I took 1 unit and I split it up into 2 half-unit plays. Nothing on the sides. I do think I'm going to sound crazy saying this, but if I were to play a side, I'd probably play Dallas +5. I just think it's the right spot here. I think coming off the bye, usually CeeDee Lamb has an explosive game. Usually Dallas puts things together a little bit after the bye. And with the 49ers injuries, Purdy's not been playing exceptionally well. Definitely don't trust Dallas defense, but I think Dallas offense can do enough to probably keep them close in this game. I'm not saying Dallas would win, but I would probably take it. If it's +5 right now, I think I'm fine with that. I think Dallas can keep this within like 5 or 4. I took CeeDee Lamb half unit anytime touchdown for +110, and then I did his 80+ receiving yards. I also got that plus money for half unit. That's over his regular line. I liked his stats. Coming off a bye, CeeDee Lamb has just been amazing in his first 4 years. In year 1, he had 34 yards and a touchdown, which wasn't great. But in year 2, he still scored year 1. Year 2, he had 112 yards, no touchdowns. Year 3, he had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then year 4, he had 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, that obviously matters who they play as well. The only reason I split this up on half units and I didn't just do one of the plays, I'm not really sure which one he's going to get, but I think he's going to at least get one of those. And for both to be plus money, I think I can at least cash out on that side. I'm hesitant a little bit on it only because his history against the 49ers hasn't been great. They usually have a good game plan against him. I think he's had one really good standout game against him where he went over good yardages and scored. But I think this is a good spot coming off a bye with the trends of how they clearly need to focus on him coming out of the bye, and that's usually what they do. So I like that play.
Now we are at the part of the show where we are giving our best bets. Wade's best bet is tell us why you like Derrick Henry this week.
Derrick Henry over 19.5 longest rush. I don't see how you don't like this play. They brought his run total up significantly this week, so they've been kind of sleeping on his rushing yards total, but they haven't brought this line up at all. And I think they missed this line. He has cashed this in 6 straight games. He missed, or he's cashed this in 6 games, all but week 1. I think he missed. Lamar came out this week and he said that he thinks King Henry can break the rushing record. So I think that means they're going to continue to feed him. He likes to wear teams down. So I think obviously at some point in the game, he has a chance to break one. In the last 4 weeks alone, we have seen long runs of 87, 51, 27, and 81. Setting at 19.5. I just think this is way too low of a number. He has cashed this correct in 6 straight, 81, 27, 51, 87, 29, and 29. And they still have this sitting at 19.5. So I think the line's a mispriced line, misplaced line. And this is a pretty big play for me.
I like it. I like it. My best bet of the day is give me A.J. Brown over 72.5 yards receiving. The Bengals, 12th worst coverage team, run man coverage the majority of the time. A.J. Brown leads the league in yards. Leads the league averaging 5.7 yards ran against man coverage, is the highest graded PFF grader against man coverage. His worst game this year is 5 for 89. That's his worst game. 5 for 89. He's gone over this total every single game he has played. So I'm going to take A.J. Brown over the 72.5 yards receiving. Somebody asked about round robins, but before we get into that, I have to give out my Boom play of the day. Go to Boom Fantasy, download the app, use promo code ETOFT21. We did Kenneth Walker over 25.5 receiving yards, DJ Moore over 59.5 receiving yards, Kareem Hunt over 66.5 rushing yards, Drake London over 66.5 receiving yards, and Tyreek Hill over 85.5 receiving yards. My 2 round robins, Tank Dell 60+ yards receiving, Drake London 80+ yards receiving, A.J. Brown 90+ yards receiving, DJ Moore 70+ yards receiving. And my anytime touchdown, round robin, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Drake London, DJ Moore, and Tank Dell, my friend. Whew, a lot of action today, my friend. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I've got quite a few anytime touchdowns going myself today, so
Wade,
I'd like to make some money.
Wade, I'd like to thank you for being the pinch hitter today. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend?
Yeah, you guys can just come find me over at X on _Top Flight Picks. Got a link in my bio. Come join Premium for free if you want. Come check us out. Yeah, we do the UFC show every week, so glad to do this. It's always fun to talk a little football with you, a little break from the fighting world. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
I mean, like props are due. I knew I was in for a long fight card yesterday when my first bet. The guy tore his Achilles while he jumped up in the octagon. So I knew I was in for a long fight.
We were both on opposite sides of that fight, and it hurt both of us because I had that fight at least reaching the second round. That's ridiculous, man. That fight was definitely going into the second round. Barnett could have easily won that fight. That stinks, man. Why do you have to get so excited and jump up in the air when Bruce Buffer's introducing you and you're 450 pounds? Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But you killed it. You got everything right. Make sure to give him a follow at Type Flight Picks. We'll be back next week. Also, follow this guy on YouTube. Him and Mike do some great stuff. Putting out some football videos. Make sure to give him a follow. Till next week, boys and girls.